soul, feeling the loss of control in the spirit, so colorful. Easy feeling, then let's go to a place where you belong. Give you strength to carry on. Open your heart, set your mind at ease. Live your life and you'll be free. We're gonna rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising, rise, rise, rise. Rise, rise, keep on rising, rise,
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review. My name is Paul. I'm joined by Billy. Thank you very much for joining us for tonight's match review of Newcastle United 3, Fulham 0. Stato has internet problems right now, so he may be joining us. He may not. We'll just have to wait and see. Why isn't that button working on my... Oh, it is. Do enjoy the show tonight, guys. Please do hit the thumbs up button for us and keep us in the search results on good old YouTube. And, of course, if you're new, please do subscribe. It is free to do so. And don't forget to hit the notification bell to let you know when we go live or upload any videos. You can become a member of the channel, of course, if you hit the join button just underneath me and Billy. And, of course, you can donate to the channel if you do so wish on this fine Sunday evening by hitting that $sign, and that will also guarantee your comment to be read out. Right, just to go through the results in the Premier League earlier today. Absolutely fantastic result for Arsenal. They keep going. Arsenal 2, Brighton 0. Villa goes second in the table with a 2-1 victory at Brentford. West Ham 3, Wolves 0. So West Ham get back to winning ways. And Liverpool 0, Man United 0 in what was an awful, awful game of football. The way the table stands at the moment, we are in 6th position on 29 points. Currently 4 points adrift of 5th place Tottenham and 5 points adrift of Manchester City, who are, let's just say, spiraling at the moment. A little bit of a crisis going on at the Etihad Stadium. But we're in a good position, certainly moving forward. And that result, Billy, yesterday, just what we needed, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's kept us in touch, hasn't it, with the top 5 and gives us a platform to try and push on and overtake 2 or 3 of them as the season progresses, as we get players back, as we bring in reinforcements. Today's football was a bit of a snooze fest. Absolute awful game at Anfield. 2 old men fighting over a cone, basically. It was dreadful. And Aston Villa Brentford weren't much better. And Aston Villa were basically gifted 3 points by Ben Mee, getting himself sent off for no reason whatsoever. It was ridiculous. And they're a bit of rubber the green at the moment, Aston Villa. They're not actually that great a side. They're pretty quick and work hard, but got to watch them. They're not very good, entertaining to watch, I've got to say.
No, absolutely not. Now, we do have a poll up on the top of the chat for Man of the Match yesterday to see who was your Man of the Match. You've got a selection of Bruno, Livramento, Miley or Emil Kraft. Those are the 4 players that are on the poll for Man of the Match tonight. So get voting and we'll have a look at that at the end of the show. Someone on Facebook says, hi all at TTR and TTR family, still buzzing after the win yesterday. Fantastic. Merry Christmas to you all. Paul Tully says, Silva's post-match reaction to the sending off was poor. I haven't seen a Fulham fan who thought it wasn't a blatant red. I don't know what Marco Silva was looking at if he thinks that's not a red card, because every time I look at it, it gets frigging worse. We said during the commentary, Billy, that red card came about because he made Jimenez made a right faff of the clash with Lascelles a couple of minutes before the actual sending off.
Yeah.
if you look back to that, he got caught, but it was just Lascelles jumping for the ball. There was nothing malicious in it. But the way Jimenez went like flying through the air, and it was clear that he took the hoof with that and then went in for an absolutely absurd challenge on Sean Longstaff.
Well, players have got to understand that they don't referee the games. I mean, the referee looked at it, didn't see anything wrong with it. VAR had a little glimpse at it, saw nothing wrong with it, at the Lascelles elbow. And then he's decided to take matters into his own hands and basically kung fu kick minus the foot, looked Sean Longstaff in the nose. It was ridiculous. Kind of jumping with his knee first, pulling it away, then hitting him with his hip. It was a facial assault. And it was a red card all day long. All day long.
Absolutely. Tom, I was going to come up with that brilliant result for the Lasses today, winning 11-3 against Fylde. They're unbeaten in 2023. They're just absolutely flying at the minute, the Lasses. They just keep getting better. And I cannot wait till they play Manchester United in the Women's FA Cup. That is going to be a quality game. Hopefully it's broadcast on YouTube and things like that, because we may well do a watch along for that. Which will, give them a bit more, what's the word I'm looking for, Billy? Give them a bit more exposure. Yes, that's the one. Stevenson's commentator on the Man United match said at the start it was the biggest match of the season. My arse. No, the biggest match of the season is coming up on the 6th of January, undoubtedly. Paul Tully says Bruno masterclass, but Kraft really showed his defensive and attacking abilities. I mean, look, the game, Billy, the first half for me was forgettable. I mean, it really wasn't good, was it? It was stop-start. Of course, Fabian Schär going down with a hamstring injury. 15 minutes later, Joe Linton down with a hamstring injury. Now, when initially the substitution was made for Fabian Schär, we thought that Kraft was just coming on as a like-for-like replacement and into the centre-back role. However, one thing that we've been trying to sort of, mention about Eddie is that he doesn't change very much. However, he did yesterday. He then put Kraft right back, moved Livramento left, and put Dan Burn back in the middle, and it was very balanced.
Yeah, it worked a treat, didn't it? I mean, generally he'll go like for like. Obviously, he couldn't bring Botman on because he didn't have that kind of time in his legs. 18 minutes to play, coming back from injury, so he couldn't do that. So, yeah, it was a good substitution actually, and worked fantastic because both Livramento and Kraft flourished down the flanks, and Dan Burn had little to do in the middle and ended up scoring a goal. So, perfect game management from the manager there.
Yep. Alan says, even at all, listening to the show, love watching Miley's goal. He's going to be a great player. Just hope we will keep him and not sell him. There's no chance of us selling him. Absolutely not a chance. Paul says, Lascelles is merely doing what defenders are coached to get your body in between the ball and the man, bound to get the odd elbow on the chin. Well, absolutely. If two people are jumping for the ball, Billy, it's natural that your arms are going to help you propel.
Yeah, you jump with your elbows, don't you? Kind of to get yourself levered up, give you leverage. Yeah, there's nothing nasty in Lascelles' challenge. And it was just coming together, I thought. I mean, the referee thought that, and so did VAR. The only person that didn't think that was Mr. Jimenez, who then decided to take the law into his own hands and got sent off for it.
Yeah. It was absolutely ridiculous. I still can't believe he did it. I don't actually know what was going through his head at that moment as to say, right, I'm going to go in with my foot first. Then he pulls his foot away, but ends up like 5 foot in the air, clattering into the face of Sean Longstaff. It was just a ridiculous challenge.
Especially with his past record with injuries.
Yeah, with head injuries, absolutely. 100% agree with you. But, when that change happened, Billy, and then Joe Linton, of course, went off. The first half, we couldn't get going, and it was a little bit worrying, wasn't it? Because we were trying things. Miggy tried a few crosses with his right foot. We got crosses, a couple of crosses in, but the shooting again was lacking in that first half. The times we did get to the shooting stage, they were high over the bar, or we just didn't shoot, which was frustrating. But it was kind of imbalanced, wasn't it, until Eddie could get them in at half-time and regroup?
Well, it was obvious that Fulham were going to drop into a low block once they were down to 10 men, and they did. And unfortunately for us, we didn't spread the play enough. We didn't get, it was very disruptive. We tried to be too intricate through the centre. Where Fulham had packed out the defence. It made no sense to me. They needed to make the pitch bigger. They tried at times. They swapped Gordon and Amron for 10 minutes. That spread the pitch, but, the crosses weren't great. They came in. So the chances were few and far between. I can only remember real one or two in the first half. But it was very lots of stop-start, wasn't there? And just very bitty and poor fare to watch, actually. We weren't a great first half. And, of course, 10 men, playing against 10 men, just takes some time to acclimatise to it. And whatever Fulham were doing with the low block and counter-attack. So, it took us a while to get used to what we had to do. And it took us half time, in fact. So Eddie Howe got
it's never easy. Yeah, it's never easy playing 10 men, is it? It's very, very difficult, as we showed against Liverpool. You can't count your chickens. But what I really liked is the attitude we came out with in the second half. Luke, thank you very much for your $5 super chat. He says, what do you think about the talk of not keeping Lewis Hall? I hope it's nothing. He looks like a great attacking spark, but Eddie seems cautious. Well, by all accounts, we are going to sign him. That was what was said after the press conference on Friday. So, look, it's a question of waiting to see what he does with Lewis Hall. I thought Lewis Hall came on yesterday and did okay. I thought he showed definitely a good attacking prowess during the game and time he was on the field. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Mark says, good evening from the South Coast. Not a good day at the Vitality, witnessing the awful scenes regarding Tom Lockyer. Get well soon and recover soon. Well, all is good on that by the sound of things, Billy, that he's up and talking. It was a cardiac arrest, I believe. It was a heart problem that he suffered. I mean, because there was mixed stories coming through when we were live yesterday during Matchday Live, that it was a head injury, or it was, of course, a heart problem because he's had that before, and it turns out that it was a heart problem. But what I really loved to see was the Luton manager going around the stadium applauding all the fans for the respect that they've shown to Lockyer. It was a really emotional scene to see that, Billy.
Yeah, I mean, Edwards had tears in his eyes. Obviously, he was aware of how serious it was. But the crowd stuck with it, didn't they? They didn't kind of boo them. There was no impatience there. No. They stuck with it. They understood what the seriousness of the situation was. And I think the Luton team and Rob Edwards walked around the pitch, and the Bournemouth team also. I think they I thought they did great, actually. And end of that kind of what was going on the pitch and what was going on behind the scenes. I thought they did great. Both sets of teams, fans, medical, the whole lot. Everyone inside that ground was fantastic yesterday. Totally
the right decision as well to abandon the game.
100%.
There's more things more important than life, and it was just really emotional scenes. And hats off to both sets of fans and everybody associated with that game yesterday, because it was an awful scene. But he's up and talking and in a good, stable condition at the moment. So long may that continue. But obviously, it's the second time it's happened to him. So I think further, a lot more testing is going to be done on the Luton skipper. But it's a shame. By the way, I've had an email from Philip Gow's son, who is also called Philip. Of course, we only found out, was it yesterday during the watch along? Unfortunately, Phil Gow had passed away. Really shocked us, because Phil's been a part of this channel for quite some time now. And we knew he'd been poorly. We knew he'd had to have, of course, an amputation on his leg because of, I think it was diabetes. And he was regularly in touch with the show from the hospital. So he was still watching. He was still enjoying the shows. But unfortunately, due to complications with the amputation, he ended up having a heart attack and unfortunately passed away. Real sad news. Obviously, when we lose a part of our community, which Phil was, the email was lovely, saying he loved the channel and everything. But Philip, his son, is going to continue to watch the channel in his dad's honor. And so, if we do see any comments coming up from Phil Gow, it is his son. He's got the same name. But it's just lovely that they are going to continue as a family to watch the channel, because they all loved it. So again, our thoughts and prayers go to the family. But thank you very much for sending me that email and letting me know what had happened, just so I can inform everybody that if they see his name pop up, it's his son. And I'm just delighted that they're going to continue to watch the channel. Really sad. Really sad, and he'd be a massive big miss, but hopefully he'll be watching from up there and still supporting the lads as well. So just thought I'd mention that as well. The Roughyard Bernician says Miley did 2 flicks in one half in the box, which was sheer class. Opened up space for a clear shot on goal. Miggy, then Sean, totally switched off, responded too slow. Sean I can forgive for being rusty, but Miggy, look, I think first half, I don't think anybody was quite at it. Fulham, definitely came to play in a similar way to what other teams had done in the previous short history, shall we say, the likes of Everton, Tottenham trying to shore up the midfield, catch us on the break. It was clear what their intentions were. It almost worked once when, of course, Iwobi got through. But we needed half time. And, just so Eddie could get the lads in to regroup. Eddie could then get his instructions across to everybody to where they wanted to be. Geordie, Nick, thank you for becoming a Toon Review member. Welcome to Members Club. So it was important, Billy, that he had that conversation. But I thought second half was very, very different. I thought Miggy was excellent in the second half. I don't mind saying that. He was excellent. Bruno was just superb. But we have to talk about Emil Kraft, Billy, because, this was only, his second appearance or third or whatever it is since his injury. And he came into right back yesterday and just looked brilliant.
Yeah, well, let's not forget he played outstandingly against Man City as well and Man United in the Carabao Cup. Both those games he was superb in at centre half. Coming yesterday, he played right back as a sub, didn't he? I can't remember where it was. One of the last week for about 10 minutes he played really well, and then came in yesterday in the first half and he was outstanding. And it's no small compliment to say that there was no drop off between him and Livramento, and there's no drop off between him and Trippier yesterday, because he was getting forward, providing great crosses. He was skillful. He defended solidly. His passing was good. He had an outstanding game, and that's he's definitely one that's been held, because under Steve Bruce he was a bit of a laughing stock, and we always used to call him for what he was. He was awful under Steve Bruce. Since Eddie Howe's come in, it's been nothing short of fantastic, And although Kieran Trippier has come in to improve that position, Emil Kraft, when Kieran Trippier broke his foot, came in and played superbly. So he's a player that we need to give a contract to. So I think he deserves it. He had a year out with his knee ligaments. Yep. And he needs a new contract. He deserves one.
Certainly is a squad player, Billy. I think without doubt he's one that we can rely on to come in and do a job. I think. Yes, people say the sending off helped us because Fulham had to play a lot narrower, didn't they? Which opened up a lot of space for our full-backs to get forward. But they've still got to go and do it. And what I really liked yesterday, certainly second half as well, brilliant crossing from Emil Kraft. And we just looked back to our confident best in the second half. Once Smiley scored, it seemed to lift the weight off our shoulders, and obviously we could have got 4 or 5 yesterday. We still missed some chances, of course, but Miley's goal was just brilliant. Bruno's determination, sheer determination, to keep going with that football. He didn't give up. Yes, Rick O'Shea played a part. Thank God for us this time. But Miley, when he's in like that, you think it's 17-year-old at the Gallagher end. He's got a chance to shoot, but he's just so level-headed, isn't he? He just took that. He took it in the bottom corner brilliantly.
Well, you've seen players today absolutely fluff the lines when they got in similar positions to what Miley was yesterday. With Louis Miley, it was no different. He just put his head down, knew exactly what he was going to do with it, blasted it into the bottom corner. Terrific finish. And it was a terrific goal, actually, because, as you said, Bruno's play to kind of set that all up was brilliant. Yeah. Determination and ball skills to boot at the same time. It's a great goal. And apparently he's Louis Miley, not Lewis Miley, apparently, by all accounts.
Really?
Eddie called him Louis. Dan Bird called him Louis yesterday. Yeah, it's spelt Lewis, but they call him Louis for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's a nickname.
Maybe it's a nickname, yeah. Yeah, Louis. Yeah, it could be a nickname. Couple of super chats just to go through. Ike 4 p.m. Thank you for your £5 super chat before the show even started. Thank you so much for that. Peter Bjordford, thank you very much for your 65 Swedish krona. He says Geordie Journal said that they were told post presser that Hall was definitely going to be a Toon player in the future. Yeah, that's what we heard as well. So time will tell on that one. Siderita says, if Kraft wanted to cement his rotational reason for being in the squad, he should have did that yesterday. What a comeback performance from him. Well, look, he played centre-back against Man United at Old Trafford and was fantastic. Yeah. So to have that kind of utility player in the squad, and let's not forget, this guy's a Swedish international. He doesn't get picked for Sweden for nothing. He's obviously got something about him. And it's just great to see that Eddie's bringing it through in him as well. He just looked so comfortable, and it sort of puts to rest, Billy, maybe the worry we've got about, we need somebody else in defence and things like that. Well, maybe we just don't need to panic at the moment with certainly defenders, and we can look at the more obvious positions that we need to strengthen in January.
Yeah, without a doubt, we can kick the defensive one down the road for a bit. They can down the road to at least the summer. Like you say, we've got Livramento, Trippier, Kraft that can all fulfill the right back role.
Yeah,
Livramento can also do left. Kraft can also do centre half. Then you've got the centre halves as well, plus Lewis Hall. So, yeah, I think we're well catered for in the defence. Although Cher being injured just doesn't help us much. But with Botman coming back, it's a kind of mixed blessing, really. But apparently, Cher's injury isn't that serious. It was a glute injury rather than a hamstring. And although he might not be available for Tuesday, I don't think he's going to play on Tuesday anyway. So next Saturday, perhaps he'll be fit again. So that's not a bad thing at all.
Yeah. Those of you that aren't sure what glutes are, he's got a sore bum cheek.
Yeah.
So it was a more of a strain of the bum cheek, or let's just say top of the hamstring. I think it'll be too early for on Tuesday, Billy, but at least it's not too bad. Joe Linton, we're not sure about yet. But a man who did make his return, Billy, was the Rolls Royce himself, Sven Botman. Obviously, wasn't fit enough to come on when Cher got injured, and he wasn't going to risk him for that long. But seeing him back on the pitch, had quite a few touches of the ball in the short space of time he was on. It was just brilliant to see him back there, just the accomplished centre-back that we know.
Yeah, he's just a calming influence, isn't he? And it was great to see him actually smiling as he came on the pitch. He was really obviously relieved there because we weren't sure what the injury was. He probably wasn't sure what it was. The medical staff certainly wasn't sure what it was because they thought he was going to play for 2 weeks. So, and it took him 3.5 months to get back into the squad. So, yeah, it must have been a massive relief for him. And he came on and just played as if he'd never been away, really. Wasn't pushed very hard at all. Like, there was no attacking intent from Fulham at that point in the game. There were 3 down. They were kind of tail between the legs, sitting back and accepting what they were getting. But yeah, he came on and passed the ball nicely. Great to have him back, really is.
Ruffiad Bernician says second half interplay between Miley and Bruno was first class. Both of them took the game by the scruff of the neck. Well, what I will say is I'm including Miggy and Kraft in that as well, because I think the 4 of them down that right-hand side were particularly good yesterday in the second half. Emil Kraft bombed on. I thought Miggy played him in a few times nicely, then got obviously the Kraft nutmeg was tremendous before he got assaulted off after the nutmeg. But I thought the 4 of them combined really well. These little one touches. But what was a bit different yesterday was when Kraft was overlapping and Miley was overlapping, they were getting crosses into the box. And I think that is a huge, huge difference to how we play when the crosses are coming in. And Miley wasn't afraid to cross. Neither was Emil Kraft. But what a ball in from Bruno for Dan Burns' goal, Billy, because outside of the boot, right on his noggin. It was a brilliant save at first, but then obviously just went in off his thigh.
Yeah, Ricochet's second kind of assist, wasn't it? It was a
a
fantastic cross from Bruno, though, to pick that out, to get it up and down that quick with the outside of the boot, straight on Dan Burns' head. And to be honest, it was a fantastic save because, Burn did everything right. He went back the way the keeper was coming. He stuck a big paw out, got it out, but back onto Burns' side and into the net. But Bruno, he gets better and better each week. We keep giving him these superlatives. We keep giving him 10s out of 10. I don't think 10 actually kind of, for yesterday's performance, it's enough. It was actually outstanding. Yeah. It really was.
Kenny Lewis Hall can't play on Tuesday, matey, because Chelsea are his parent club, so it counts in cup games as well, unfortunately for us, but he's not allowed to play. Another super chat came in there from EH. Thank you very much for your... Is that Eddie Howe? £5 super chat. Bruno has been running the show recently. If we keep playing him every game, an injury is inevitable, and we will struggle massively. A DM needed in January. Let's just enjoy Bruno while we have, to be honest, because, he's playing well. Let him continue to play well. I did get a comment on the match reaction last night. Somebody on YouTube not quite understanding why Bruno was getting so much praise from us because he's been rotten in the last 4 games, apparently, according to this person. I really don't agree with that. I think the whole team didn't perform at Everton or Tottenham, obviously. But Bruno is class. And it's as simple as that. He is class. Stephen says, what's your thoughts on Ashworth getting linked to Man United, Paul? Surely he's not going to give up the most exciting project in world football. This link has gone on for weeks, if not months now. And I don't know what to make of it, to be honest. If Dan Ashworth goes, he goes. I don't particularly see him leaving the club. Not the way we certainly went after him when he was at Brighton. I don't see what the pull is of Man United at the minute. The club's all over the shop, to be honest, and it doesn't matter whether this guy's coming in with 25% ownership or not. It's a very rocky ship. Whereas Newcastle, they're on the sort of upward spin. There's a lot to look forward to. His job is very vital, obviously, to work with Eddie Howe and bring these new players into the club. But if he did go, then somebody else will come in and do the job. It's as simple as that. Newcastle now have the pull and power to bring in some very experienced personnel. And if Dan Ashworth left for Manchester United, personally, I think more fool him. But we would just go and get somebody else, Billy. Somebody else who's just as good at doing the job.
I don't think it'll go anywhere. I think it's just the press trying to stir up trouble between the members of our backroom staff. Really, it's a nonsense. You would never join Manchester United in the situation they're in at the moment. The club on the downward spiral. The poor management, poor players. They've managed to crap a 0-0 today at Anfield, but they were dreadful, and they're dreadful every week. The problem there is the recruitment, absolutely no doubt about it, but the manager ain't great either. So, Eddie Howe and Dan Ashworth, they're at the biggest project in world football. Why would you leave that? I don't understand why you would.
Yeah, it would be a crazy thing to do, but obviously, if Man United offered him a certain amount of cash, I don't know what would. Like I say, I don't know what the pull and power would be for Dan to go to Manchester United. I just think it would be ludicrous, to be honest. But look, it's been around simmering for a couple of months. If Man United are going to make an approach for him, Newcastle can also say sod off. They don't have to let him go. So again, it's one of those that I think it's the same as you, Billy. I think it's the media trying to stir things up. It's the media trying to create a bit of unrest in the Newcastle hierarchy. But it's not going to work.
I'll tell you what else it is. It's the press adding 2 and 2 together and coming up with 5 because they've made the link with Graham Potter replacing Ten Hag.
Yeah,
I think Potter being United, Potter and Ashworth is kind of on the cards, but I can see it.
Andy says, very pleased to see Bruno go beast mode. Impressive display of determination and patience, aside from his technical brilliance, of course. Good evening to Gillian as well. Lots of comments, of course, about Phil. All the best wishes going to him and his family, of course. Sidereach says, the support for Phil and his family has been great from you guys, Paul and Billy. Very sad of me. Rest in peace. Absolutely. Carl says, trying to overplay things. I'd like to see some direct attacking. We have got the pace to do it. That for me, Billy, was, what Carl says there was the most frustrating thing about that first half. When we were, commentating on it, we were very aware that we were getting to a stage where shots were opening up or crosses were opening up and we weren't putting them in again. And we thought, oh God, here we go again.
Yeah, I mean, I actually disagree with that. I don't think we have got the pace except for on the flanks. If you're going to bomb it over the top of there, for what reason? If they're not going to cross the ball in, I don't see the point in it. If Anthony Gordon and Miggy Almiron came inside and played the channels for 10 minutes, they're not going to understand it.
Yeah.
So as a once a half kind of tactic, yeah, but I wouldn't want to do it all the time. It's we haven't got the pace up front. Simple as that. Whether it's Isak or Wilson, they're not quick players, either of them.
What did you think of Callum yesterday? Because I thought he led the line very well. I think it was frustrating for him in the first half because, like we say, he's the kind of guy that thrives on balls into the box. I think there was one cross came in the first half, didn't he, where he got in front of the defenders and got his head on it. It was straight at the keeper in the end. But that's what Callum thrives on. And the fact that the balls weren't coming into the box was very frustrating for him.
I thought he had an excellent game. He did everything apart from score a goal. And he was never going to score a goal yesterday as long as there was a hold of his backside. He hit the post. There was one ball that came across and he went to volley it. If he'd headed it, he'd have scored. Just things didn't go right for him. But I thought he had an excellent game. I thought he held the ball up. I thought he gave the Fulham centre-halves a real torrid time. I think the Fulham centre-halves actually played well as well, which was, it was a good battle between the three of them. But I thought Wilson, he's offered the last 2 games. I think he's been really good. I think he's offered us a lot more front physically.
Yeah.
The goals aren't coming as yet, but they will come without a doubt. I mean, he hit the post yesterday late on, didn't he? He was determined to score, but it just wasn't going to happen.
But he led the line. His hold-up play was great, especially second half. I mean, he played. He got very much into the game second half, and his little layoffs were getting us on the attack. John Rowland says, "Get off Miggy's back. He always gives 100%."
On it.
We're not on Miggy's. See, Billy, it doesn't matter. I've sat here and praised Miggy. Said he was excellent second half, and we're still getting it. But what I will say, John, is just because he gives 100% doesn't mean that he's had a good game, right? He can give 100% and still be awful, which he has been lately. But he was excellent in the second half yesterday, no doubt about it. But, we need to see that on a consistent basis and not against the likes of Fulham as well. We want to see it against the bigger teams. But he had a fantastic second half and was pivotal yesterday to us getting a result. My Man United fan asked if I was Eddie out after the loss in the Champions League. Really shows the mentality of the United fans. It's to be honest, I mean, I think that they're actually a little sort of 50-50 on Eric Ten Hag, aren't they? Certainly when I've watched Goldbridge and people like that, the votes have come in and it's been very 50-50. So Kraft and Lascelles have earned contract extensions, in my opinion. Squad players strengthen the squad in other areas. Julie says the future's bright, the future's Miley. Indeed. Let's have a look. Kenny says, I think Howe will keep an eye on Miley and won't burn out like Rooney. Probably keep him away from grannies. Yeah. Look, one thing Lewis Miley has about him, I think, Billy, is that he's got a very mature head on his shoulders. And it's clear that the rest of the lads love him and they will take care of him. Bruno thinks the world of him. You can see that. But, with Eddie Howe as the manager, you just know that he's going to get looked after. Yeah,
and he's been forced to play him probably more than he wanted him to. Otherwise, we'd have seen him early in the season when there was no injuries.
Yeah.
But yesterday came on and he managed to last the 70 odd minutes he was on, full of running. And I guess the fact that we had the ball for most of that time helped us an awful lot. You get more tired when you're chasing the ball. And I don't think that game took anything out of us yesterday, I'll be honest. I think it was just a gentle training session for us. We played with passion and verve, but at the same time, I don't think it took anything out of us. Players like Miggy at the end, Callum Wilson at the end, they're full of winning.
It always helps when you've got the ball a lot, though, doesn't it? But we're not. The difference in that game was we're not chasing the ball for a lot of the time, and that makes a big difference. So we should go into the Chelsea game with a lot of confidence, certainly, and a bit of fitness as well. Southern Geordie says, what I loved about yesterday was the variety of set piece takers. Bruno's crosses for the corner, immediately followed by the third goal, were fantastic. I mean, look, we did have an array of set piece takers, but I think when we get a corner, everybody's like, I think this is generally the thing in football anyway. You get a corner and everyone's like, oh, come on. It means naff all getting a corner, to be honest, because the amount of goals that are scored from corners are very, very slim. And for Newcastle United, it's literally very, very slim. But it was nice to see other people taking set pieces yesterday. Gordon took a few corners and Bruno. Who else did Longstaff take any? I'm not sure. So we did have different people, and it was nice. It was really good. But I have a feeling Trips comes back in, he's the man straight away again. So that will be the case moving forward. No one mentioning how good Bruno's set pieces were. I'm not sure that his set pieces were great. We didn't score from any set pieces, but we created problems, and I think that's definitely an improvement, Billy. Because when you think of the height we've got in that penalty area for set pieces, we should be scoring more.
Well, the third one was secondary set piece, wasn't it?
Well, it was, yeah.
When Kraft nutmegged Dickodova Reed and he elbowed him in the face and got yellow carded for it, that came from that free kick. Yeah, and it even involved a Miggy shot with his right foot, which was on target and had some pace behind it, which was amazing in itself. I think I think it was on Match Today last night that we were kind of quite high up the goal score from set pieces table this year, which kind of amazed me. I must be honest. I think we're about 5th or 6th, really high up it. So, yeah.
there mustn't be a lot of set pieces being scored in the Premier League this season. That's all I can think of. Lewis says, as a proud member of the Lewis community, I can say that Louis is just a nickname. There you go. From one Lewis to another.
I mean, that's really odd, isn't it? Just not be bothered to say the finals.
Yeah, just Louis. John says, I believe Lewis has a younger brother who is just as good as him. Jamie, I think Jamie's older, isn't he?
I think he is, yeah.
I think Jamie's a year older or a year and a half. And, he's very, very good. Don't get me wrong, but he's not. I don't think
he didn't impress as much in the pre-season games, did he?
No. Didn't stand out.
Different kind of player as well, I think. He's a bit more bulky, isn't he, Jamie?
Craig says, Geordie Journo saying Real Madrid talking about Miley, but they're not sure how serious they are. There's no way. Not a chance. As far as I know, the nickname comes from the Louis song. Okay.
Could do.
Interesting. Dan says the best thing Howe brings to the squad is a high level of standards. Just to get into the squad, you have to be a solid player. So each player that starts for Newcastle is quality. It was nice to see the smile back on the faces, Billy. I think we made a point of that at the end of the game yesterday during Match Day Live. We said that it was so nice to see at the end, everybody hugging, the smiles back on the faces. We've got some tough games coming up. Chelsea away is a tough game. It's a big game, this, because Newcastle want to do well again in the Carabao. People slate the Carabao Cup, but again, it's away into Europe. And we are again at the quarterfinal stage. We have a huge opportunity of doing well. We've beaten the two Manchester sides, which takes a lot of doing. And of course, Liverpool, yes, they're still in it, but they didn't look anything to write home about earlier on today. So you can catch them on a bad day. You don't know what's going to happen. If we're at our best, we can beat the best. We know we can. So I think going to Chelsea is a big, big game. And then, of course, Luton at the weekend. Luton are a good side away at Kenilworth Road. They haven't won many games, obviously, but they give you a game. They give Man City a game. They give Liverpool a game.
It's a bad time to play on, actually.
With what's happened with the skipper, they're going to be wanting to get a result for him as well.
Galvanised,
the crowd will be on. So we face a very, very tough game at Kenilworth Road, and it's not an easy stadium to go to. It's small, it's compact, it's if the wind's blowing, you get a pair of nuns' knickers in your face that have blown off a washing line somewhere. So but we have to show professionalism. We have to go there, play our game, because our away form, as we know, it needs to improve, Billy. And these two away games is a perfect opportunity to put that right.
Yeah, I mean, I think the key to it yesterday was actually enjoyed it second half. I mean, go out and express yourself and enjoy yourself. And the second half, they clearly all did. The first half was frustrating for them. They couldn't break down the low block. They were trying different things, but they were doing it in the wrong areas of the pitch. They're trying to break through the middle. They would have been frustrated. But once they had the team sort of Eddie Howe and he put them right, they came out second half. They really enjoyed it. You can see it, as you said, smiles on the faces all the way through the game, actually. For the second half, it was exhibition football at times. Played some really, really good stuff. Yeah. So if they can go into the Chelsea game with that kind of attitude and enjoy the game and, not let the pressure of the game get to them, which they probably won't because, they've been there before. They played Chelsea the other week. Chelsea will be wanting a bit of revenge, I would imagine. But they ain't great. I mean, they've scraped through against Sheffield United yesterday. So I think we'll be confident going into that game. If we win that, confidence breeds again, doesn't it? And then we go to Luton, a game we're expected to win. But professionally, they've got to stick at it because, as you said, Luton work the socks off at home to make it hard for you. They've had some bad luck at home, actually. So, as long as we can keep enjoying the game, I think we'll be okay.
Now we will have a preview of that game tomorrow night, 7 p.m. live on the Toon Review. Don't forget, we will have the morning news with myself at 11 o'clock as well. We go live 11 o'clock and 7 during the week, providing there's no games, of course. But Wednesday night will be Match Day Live again with myself and Billy as we take to Stamford Bridge. I don't think Chelsea are anything to write home about. They certainly haven't turned a corner, Billy. Like people said, I think it was just before they played us, didn't they? They said, they may have turned a corner. We hammered them. And, to be fair, they only beat Sheffield United 2-0. And by all accounts, wasn't a great Chelsea performance again. And, we can go there with a lot of belief. And I'm really looking forward to the game because we get through that. We're in the semi-final again.
I think Todd Bowley's actually ruined that club. I think
No shit.
Pochettino's got too much choice. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He's never going to know his best 11. He's got about 70 players he can choose from. There's only 28-5 in the squad, but they're all multi-million-pound signings, and I think it's hard for him to kind of get his best 11 worked out, and he still hasn't done it yet, as far as I can see. Or if he has, it ain't a very good best 11. Simple
It's
as
a
that.
hindrance to him having so many players.
I think so. Absolutely, 100%.
Steve Elliott says, come on, if you ever see a hamstring go when running with the ball, then it was Shea yesterday. Nothing to do with a problem with top of hamstring. It's a full hamstring. He won't play for 4 weeks.
Well, Eddie Howe said it's glutes, so I'm imagining he's going to know more than you, Steve.
Yeah. Listen, I understand what you're saying, Steve. If it is a hamstring, then yes, you can't take any risks on him. But he said it's his glutes, so we have to go off what Eddie said.
Although,
I don't think
our medical stuff ain't great. I mean, you could be right, Steve.
Yeah. Let's be honest. They've given timelines for certain players this season, and it of 2 weeks, and it's ended up being 3 or 4 months. So let's take it with a pinch of salt, shall we? Kenny says, I don't talk about other teams, not my concern, but Brighton lost again. Is it due to their Europe run with a small squad? Probably, but I don't think that they'd want to ever not be in Europe. It's massive for Brighton. They did really well last season, and to get into Europe is huge for them. So, look, they will improve the squad as well.
Macum in the chat. Macum in the chat.
Who have we got? Where?
Right at the bottom. He's about 5 up now.
What's his name?
Bob the Blue. He's called himself Bob the Blue to try and... Well, it could be Chelsea, I guess.
Bob the Blue? I can't see Bob the Blue.
It's about 6 from the bottom now.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll come to it. Paul Tully says to Steve, well, your hamstrings are made up, have thousands of muscle fibers. There are more than one muscle that makes your hamstrings. There are 4, and a smaller 5th one towards the top. Interesting. Martin says, finishing training soon for the players. Seems like in games we couldn't eat one meal in all you can eat restaurant. Simon says, when Miggy and Gordon did come inside, it allowed the runs for Kraft and Livramento to bum on. Well, yeah, that's what I mean. It certainly had an effect because of the sending off. They had to come a lot more narrow, of course. Wobie came from the left. He went through the middle. And it was a good move to put a Wobie there, to be honest, because he's a dangerous player. He did have a couple of breaks yesterday. And he sort of, for me, he was the only one that really drove Fulham forward yesterday. Tom Kearney did a little bit, Billy, but certainly first half. But second half, they had no hope.
Well, they were comfortable first half, and it was the way we played rather than the way they played, I think. I mean, obviously, they're going to go into a low block with 10 men. But it's just we're trying to break for the middle all the time, where the vast majority of their players, defenders, were too intricate, and we didn't use the flanks nowhere near enough. In second half, we did. And as Simon says, was it Simon that said it? Cutting inside Miggy and Anthony Gordon, let more width on the outside with Livramento and Kraft. It was the catalyst to us winning the game easily, I think. I think he's quite right what he says. They didn't do it first half. Didn't do it anywhere near enough.
Ronald says, I've been a massive critic of Dubravka since the Everton game, but fair play to him keeping a clean sheet against Fulham. We are allowed to criticise, folks. Well, I was going to come on to Dubravka, Billy. He did all right yesterday. He didn't have a lot to do save-wise, but some of the crosses into the box, he came out, he caught, he dealt with very professionally, got on with the game. The only one that I would pick him up on was a Wobie's break in the first half, where, again, he stayed back on his line instead of coming out and closing the angle. And eventually, I think it was one of our defenders got back in the end. Dan Burn put him off, I think, didn't he, with the last-ditch tackle. But, that was the only thing I would pick Dubravka up on yesterday. Apart from that, I think he was quite solid, Bill.
Yeah, he's coming out and claiming crosses. It's something Nick Pope doesn't do, actually. Nick Pope punches generally, but Dubravka came out confidently, caught 2 or 3, but he had little to do in actual fact. Distribution was good again, but as you said in the first half, when they broke and he was kind of stuck on his line again, that's where his downfall is for me.
Yeah,
but he'll keep his place. He may play Kerris on Tuesday and rest Dubravka for the league game, but we shall see.
Yes, there is Bob the Blue's comment. Interesting that Bob the Blue has a picture of Yoda as his from Star Wars as his Is that just like looking in the mirror, Bob?
Maccamees.
Yeah. Macam you are. Anyway, shall we do the player ratings, Billy? I think it's about that time of the night.
Yeah,
guys, take part in the player ratings with us, of course. Over 850 watching. Thank you so much. If you are new, please subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner. Just click the button and then hit subscribe. Click the logo, hit subscribe, and come and be part of this incredible community right here on the Toon Review. And don't forget, guys, please do hit the thumbs up button. Very, very, very important that we keep those likes coming in. Right, let's start off with Martin Dubravka, Billy.
Yeah, he had little to do, but what he did, apart from that one kind of dodgy moment, was pretty good. So I'm going to give him a straight down the middle 7.
Yeah, 7's fair for me as well. Whatever he had to do, he did very well. I think the thing is, I mean, I think we praised him yesterday during the Match Day Live show, Billy, and I think a lot of people were like, well, he didn't have a save to make. He didn't have a. I'd prefer that. Let's be honest. We don't want our goalkeeper having to make saves. We want him to be, solid with crosses and things like that, but not have to make any saves. And yes, the 10 men did help, but also the flip side of that is the defenders played well. So he wasn't called in any make big saves, and I want to keep it like that. So yeah, 7 for me is proper. Right, we'll start off with the starting 11, Billy, and then obviously subs, because I know that we had to make 2 in the first half, but they did have a bit of time on the pitch before they were injured, of course. So we'll go across, and we'll start with Livramento.
Yeah, I thought that an excellent game, whether it was a right back or left back. I thought it was excellent. Defensively and attacking. 8 for me, for Livramento. You're
going with an 8. I'm going with a 7. But for the same reasons, I thought he had a really good game, pushed forward very nicely, overlapped early doors when he was on the right. We didn't really get a lot of crosses in when he was on the right-hand side, but certainly on the left-hand side, second half, again, bombing forwards. This guy's a real talent, he's just going to grow and grow and grow into an absolutely fabulous player. On the left-hand side, Dan Burn, but obviously... went to centre back, Billy, when the change happened.
Yeah, he did some good covering in the first half, especially when on the counter. So defensively very good, and scored. So I'm going to give him a 9.
Yeah, I'm giving Big Dan Burn a 9 as well, and I'm really pleased for it as well. Let's be honest. He came in yesterday with literally 20 minutes of football in the last few weeks, and he yes, obviously helped the sending off. We didn't have to do a lot of defending a lot of the time, but the high balls that Fulham were putting in, obviously second half as well, he dealt with everything really, really well. And of course, the goal topped it off for him. So I'm going for a 9. Fabian Schär, Billy, only on the pitch for 20 minutes?
Yeah, hard to score him, isn't he? Injured himself doing one of his gallivanting runs. It's hard to score, but I'll give him a 6.
Yeah, I think 6 is fair, Billy, isn't it? I mean, he didn't he wasn't on very long. Jamal Lascelles.
Yeah, I thought he defended really well. Passing wasn't quite as good as it was against Milan, but I thought he defended quite well. 7.
Yeah, 7 for me as well. I think he was solid again, Billy. Especially in the first half before the sending off. Obviously, it was clear that Jimenez was trying to rough him up or get him into trouble, but he dealt with everything very, very well. He was commanding in the air. When Fulham did try and press forward and they put the balls in the box again, Jamal Lascelles literally is always the man to get his head first to the ball. His position and play from set pieces has dramatically improved to the point where we don't see him getting caught out very often anymore. And I think that's credit not just to the manager, but obviously credit to Jamal as well. So well played. Right, we'll move into midfield now. And Lewis Miley.
He didn't start, did he?
No, he didn't. We'll start with Bruno, Billy.
Well, he's a 10 all day long and every day and twice on a Sunday. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. He had a spell in the first half when we weren't so good, where he started pulling the strings.
Yeah.
His second half performance, Christ, he was out of this world.
Yeah,
one of the best performances I think I've seen from him. And that's kind of tough competition with some of the games he's had. So easy 10. Easy 10.
Yeah. The thing is, Billy, when Bruno keeps playing like that, it's like every single week he's saying, best I've seen him, best I've seen him, best I've seen him. He just
I know.
does get better and better.
Yeah.
And when Bruno plays like that, Newcastle tick. There is no doubt about it. So yeah, 10 for me as well. He just controlled the game. But second half, Billy, when he needed to, he pushed us on, didn't he? He got the ball in midfield and he drove us forward. So he had a lot to play a part in that second half, the way we attacked Fulham. I just think he was outstanding.
I think he could be a captain. I've had doubts about it before because he's very, very emotional, isn't he? But when he's like that, he's kind of inspirational, I think.
Well, Billy, I'll take you back to a certain Manchester United captain who, let's just say, was very emotional in Roy Keane. And, he was a fabulous captain. So, I don't think you're too far away there. Right. We will go to Sean Longstaff next, Billy.
Yeah, very energetic. Probably should have scored. Just had a bit of bad luck in front of goal with bounces and ricochets, strangely enough. But a good energetic performance, covered lots of ground, got stuck in, tackles, did the simple things good. 7 for me.
I mean, that one... first half, when I think it was Gordon hit the bar, wasn't it? It bounced, and sometimes that bounce will come straight to you just for a simple tap in. Yeah. That came off the bar at 100 miles an hour and went right between his legs. He had no chance of reacting to that quickly. I'm going to go with the 7. But again, I think he does make a difference to our side when he's there. No doubt about it. Joe Linton. This is an interesting one, Billy, because I think Joe... he did all right first half before he got injured.
He very nearly set them up for a goal, didn't he, with the poor pass that set that.
Oh, God, Christ, that was terrible. Yes, that was it. Yeah.
So I'm just going to give him a 6.
Yeah, 6 for me as well. I think it was... he just tried to knock it back to Livramento, didn't he? But it just it seemed to take a real strong bounce off his boot, set Iwobi away. But we got away with it. Right, let's move to the front three now. Anthony Gordon
worked his nuts off, didn't he? He was a real threat to Fulham. Second half again, he was outstanding, cutting inside, making little through balls and things like that. I'll give him an 8.
8 for me as well. And do you know why? I think there was a couple of times, Billy, we said during commentary yesterday that there was a few times that maybe Callum got in his way. I think he got in the way of Miley once as well, but you expect Callum for that, though. Callum's going to be there as the striker. But he was... I just think it's just not coming off for him at the minute, Anthony Gordon, is it? He's just been so unlucky.
Yeah.
But no one can anything else, I think, apart from an 8 or a 9, really, for that performance. He works his ass off. Other side, Miggy Almiron, I'm going with a 9 for Miggy. I thought again, attacking wise in the second half, that's much better than what we want to see from Miggy. Certainly, I think it helped with Emil Kraft there. I don't know why he seemed to combine with Kraft brilliantly, but Kraft, for me, makes better overlapping runs than what Kieran Trippier does, Billy, because sometimes Trippier stops and Miggy then has to turn and knock the ball back to Trippier. As we saw in the first half yesterday, it was a bit like that. But as we got going second half, Kraft was overlapping to go to the byline. And Trippier doesn't do that all the time, but Kraft does, which then frees Miggy up a bit more to play that pass in. I mean, there was one, he made a beautiful little back heel flick down the line, I think towards... I think it was Miley who was making the run, and then Kraft was overlapping that. So a lot better for Miggy, a lot better. And I don't, I've seen people slag him off again for yesterday, and I don't know why. I thought he was dreadful first half, but then again, who wasn't? We weren't at our best first half at all. But we all responded in the second half, and that's what I like to see. So we praise where it's due. Billy?
If I was marking the first half, it'd be a 5. If I was marking the second, it'd be a 10. So I'll go somewhere in between and give an 8.
Okay, fair enough. Callum Wilson, Billy.
Yeah, good performance, but just didn't get the goal, did he? Physically fantastic, very dangerous, very, very involved. He was a focal point for all of our attacks. He was holding the ball up well. Yeah. I'll give him an 8 as well. I'll give him an 8. Very good.
Yeah, Callum and A for me. I thought he held the line up brilliantly. And what I love about Callum is that he's not afraid to get stuck in. He roughs the centre-backs up all the time. Whenever Callum Wilson is in the side, the opposition centre-backs always get a rough ride. Even when he's not playing particularly well, he will still rough them up. I just want to see a little bit more service to him crosswise. And don't come at me, everybody, and say, well, you said that you said Isak was poor because he wasn't getting any service. Isak doesn't go in the positions that Callum Wilson does, right? Callum Wilson makes runs as the ball's coming in. He will go to the ball. Isak doesn't. That's the difference for me. Callum Wilson will go to where the ball's coming in, and he will rough up defenders and cause them all sorts of problems. But, I stand by the fact that Isak isn't an out-and-out striker. So there's obviously a difference between the two. But I just want to see more crosses come in. And maybe after that second half yesterday, we might see that happening. Listen, when Callum's playing well, he's a fantastic striker. There's no doubt about it. All we question Callum for is his fitness. But we know when he's in the team and he's fully fit, he is a hell of a striker. Undoubtedly. You don't get in the England side if you're not a decent striker. And Christ, well, maybe he's not with Southgate, but you know what I mean. And Isak doesn't have the same physicality as Callum, Billy.
Absolutely not. Different kind of players, aren't they? Like you say, it's hard to give Isak service because he's not particularly quick, so he can't really feed the channels, and he's not particularly physical. So the cross is really, it's a gamble. So he has to come deep for the ball, Isak, and dribble past players, which is, it's not kind of a striker that really requires service that much, really.
Well, hopefully, the fact that, Isak missed out on this whole squad yesterday, we were able to rest him, which I'm pleased that he did, because if he has been nursing the groin strain, then, he needed that time off, and I just want to see him fully fit as well. Right, substitution-wise, Emil Kraft was the first one to come on, and I'm giving Emil Kraft a 10. I thought he was sensational yesterday. His attitude, Billy, I mean, is just incredible. And you mentioned that yesterday as well, that his workmanship and his passion is still there. And he was awesome yesterday. Yeah,
he's the ultimate professional, isn't he? He just never moans, never complains when he's not in the team, doesn't stamp his feet, just comes on, does a job whenever he comes on as sub. And I think he deserves a start on Tuesday. He was really, really good yesterday. Outstanding attacking, outstanding defending, good tackling, good passing, real threat. Almost scored with a shot also. He got forward and had a shot. So I'm going to give him a 10 as well. Yeah, I think he deserves it.
And the thing is, we used to take the mickey out of him, saying he was the Swedish Cafu. Well, he played like Cafu yesterday. Undoubtedly, and a few people have mentioned that in the chat as well. Right, Lewis Miley, Billy, came on for Joe Linton.
Yeah, another 10. Outstanding. It's just so sensible and mature for 17-year-olds. Plays a simple pass, but when he has the time and he spots something that maybe people aren't expecting, he does something out of the ordinary, little flicks. And the finish for his goal, brilliant. Just a great performance, 17, going on 27. I think playing at St James's Park is no different to him, as well as I keep saying, as playing in the back garden with his brothers. Just outstanding, real potential. Going to be a massive star, 10 out of 10.
10 for me as well. And do you know what as well, Billy? It's not just the goal he scored, but it was the runs he made. How many times did he make overlapping runs, get to the byline, put crosses in, or make that little run into the penalty area that Sean Longstaff does as well? He did it all yesterday. And the fact that he wasn't just sitting back, he was getting forward. Just incredible performance. It really was. And the way that he stayed so level-headed for the goal, he could have just swung a boot at that and panicked, but he didn't. And he was just a very accomplished finish yesterday.
He's physically strong as well. He's very good in the tackle also. Dare I say, he's very, very Gerrard-esque. Very, very Gerrard-esque.
Yeah, he's just incredibly level-headed. But, we're not getting carried away by any stretch of the imagination. But why can't we be excited about one of our own coming through at 17 years old, playing like he does? We have a right to be excited as fans, Eddie Howe will be excited. The players around him will be. We've seen that. So a lot of positives going for Lewis Miley at the minute. I think it was another 2 substitutions. One that Richie and Hall came on in the second half. And Botman. Botman but we'll go with Matt Ritchie first, Billy. I'm giving Matt Ritchie a 9. Because I thought the time he was on the field yesterday, he caused all sorts of problems at Fulham. He was whipping crosses in, he had a few shots, and he was quite unlucky, actually, not to get at least an assist or a goal.
Yeah, he's got a wonderful left foot, hasn't he? And although he hasn't got the legs anymore, bringing him on with 15 minutes to go against a side with 10 men who have run themselves into the ground defending, it's an ideal situation for him. And he showed that. I thought he was really, really good. Like you say, very unlucky, didn't get an assist. Potential could have had a goal as well if Wilson had been in his way. I'll give him a 9 too. Yeah, brilliant.
What about Lewis Hall?
Yeah, I thought he looked good as well. I thought he looked full of energy, which is going to be, of course, but attacking, he's a left-footed player that goes on the outside. Sometimes will come on the inside as well. Defensively, he's got a bit to learn, I guess, but going forward as an attacking left-back, probably more of a wing-back than a full-back at this precise moment in time.
Yeah.
But I'll give him an 8.
Botman, finally, Billy.
Just him getting back on the pitch with a smile on his face, 10.
Yeah, I see what you've done. Well, go on, why not? Look, he's been criticised a lot in the past for not showing any emotion on his face, but did you see the smile on his face when he came on the pitch? It was as wide as the Tyne. It was absolutely superb. Obviously, the crowd gave Ritchie Hall a massive ovation, and they also gave Sven one as well. It just seeing Sven back on the pitch, and what I noticed, Billy, is right. You see the likes of Shea and Lascelles for a certain amount of time, but Botman is a sudden unit. I mean, the size of that man, his shoulders are like wider than the M1. He's just colossal.
Yeah, he's an outstanding physique of a man, isn't he? I'm very, very gay talk this is, but yeah, a good-looking chap with a fantastic kind of physique, isn't he?
Yeah.
Quick as well. He's not just that. He's just a really good footballer with it. So yeah, there's nothing not to like about Sven.
I mean, sometimes you'll see big defenders with huge physiques, and you think, God, he's a solid defender, but they're absolutely useless. But he's the real deal. He's got the skills to go with a physique, and that's what makes him out to be such an outstanding player. Right. Eddie Howe, finally, Billy.
Well, for the half-time team talk and his substitutions, I'm going to give him a 10. I've been very critical of him lately, but I thought yesterday he did everything cock on. Yeah, bang on. And he was, his team talk, his substitutions, the way he set us up against 10 men, you can't not give him a 10. Yeah, outstanding.
I'm going with a 9. He got everything right yesterday. But as I say, no, do you know what? I'm going to go to a 10, Billy, because, we've been picking at him to make, in-game changes for so long. And what he did with the back four yesterday was very impressive, because he could have just put Emil Kraft at centre back and said, just keep everything the same, because we know he said in the past he doesn't like changing it up very often in defence. But you know what? He took a risk yesterday and it paid off massively. So, yeah, a 10.
And not just that. I mean, when he brought Miley on, he could have put Miley on the left, but he didn't. He put Longstaff there and let Miley play in his more natural position. Yeah, he had lots of options to choose, but he chose the right one on every occasion yesterday.
And credit for Longstaff, for doing that position yesterday, because it was not his own position as well, and he played it. He was very accomplished there. So, yeah, absolutely. Right, the results of the poll for man of the match. You had a choice between Livramento, Bruno, Miley, and Emil Kraft. Bruno has won. We've had over 550 votes on this. Bruno was your man of the match with 73% of the votes. Second was Miley on 16. Third, Livramento on 6. And only 5% went for Emil Kraft, which I thought is very strange, because I thought he'd get a lot more votes, Billy. But, when Bruno plays like that, it's hard to even, look at anybody else.
Fans' favourites, I guess. I guess I've got an order of fans' favourites, and Paul Kraft, very early play. So, yeah, I think Kraft should have been higher than that. But having said that, the other three were all willing, worthy contenders in it. So, but there's no one better than Bruno. Bruno was absolutely magnificent yesterday. Yeah.
The Popple Mags, 10 out of 10 for the crowd singing the Wham song at the end. Yes, that was superb. They gave me Jason Tyndall. A lot of fans have said today that they can't really get that song out of their head. So, brilliant. But now you know, we turn to Tuesday night, of course. So we are back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. with the match preview. I will be back at 11 o'clock in the morning with the live latest news show. So if you have broken up for your holidays or Christmas or anything like that, or you're at work, just tune in. I know a lot of people have said that in the chat that they tune in while the boss is not looking. So join me at 11, and then the three of us tomorrow night. Hopefully, Stato's Wi-Fi will be back on, and we'll have his graphics and everything for that show. But thank you for your super chats and new memberships tonight, guys. Thank you to the mods. Thank you very much to Billy as well for his company tonight. But the main thanks goes to you guys. Over 850 people on a Sunday night is incredible. Thank you so much for your support, and we will see you all tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening. Good night.
Away the lads and lasses.
Come back and check out and breathe.